Hey, what's going on, everybody? Kean McDermott, The Sports Scoop. Today I'm going to be breaking down the NFL Week 10 slate of games, giving some reactions, roundup, what went on, what went good, what went bad for NFL teams. So if you guys are NFL fans, make sure you guys stick around. Very, very interesting slate of games this week. A lot of upsets. Just recorded our NFL Week 11 predictions we do each week. Make sure you guys go check that. It'll be posted, I think, tomorrow, depending on when this is posted. But very, very interesting state of game. We obviously started off that Thursday night game with the Ravens and Dolphins. Definitely an upset game that hurt my record with the Dolphins winning that one. I don't want to touch on that one too much. I think we know what happened there defensively. It was a great, great performance by the Miami Dolphins, and they held Lamar. But really talking about the Sunday slate of games. We started with that Titans game against the Saints. Obviously, the Saints led that great comeback, and I think it came down to the Trevor Siemian. I think the backup quarterbacks, all the ones that won those games 2 weeks ago, the Mike White, the Trevor Siemian, all of those backup guys we kind of saw exposed this week. Obviously, as Mike White lost and then Trevor Siemian lost. But, led a good comeback. Obviously, not having Kamara this week is a big, indicator of how productive the Saints offense can be without him, and it's not very much. Mark Ingram, although did his best, and I think he's now the all-time touchdown leader for that might be completely wrong. I saw that, but maybe it's the rushing. I think it's the all-time rushing touchdown leader for the Saints. Obviously, he was great for them, but not too much here. I think it's a Titans team that definitely has been surprising throughout the season. Obviously, I think I saw this team as probably taking a step back from the recent years, and they haven't been. Obviously 8-2 now, and I think a big reason is this defense has been fantastic, and I think that's really why they have been able to win these games, because the Titans would always seem to be holding them back was that offense, not the offense, complete opposite. Obviously, that defense, and losing Derrick Henry, they haven't missed a beat, which I think is very important. And then the next one we saw, obviously, the Bills and the Jets face off. And I think when you look at this is the kind of game where it went exactly as we thought. The Jets kind of mounted a late-ish comeback with that 17-point with Mike White, 4 interceptions. I believe there was 3 fumbles, if I'm not wrong. Actually, maybe not 3. But there's obviously 4 picks. There's 1 fumble. But this Bills defense showing why they are probably the best in the NFL. They were fantastic. So I think that was a big reason why this team was able to obviously, win this game. Then, offensively, we know how good they are with Josh Allen and all of those other guys. So I think that was a big reason why they were able to win this game. And we know this Jets team, a big division class, but it went exactly as we expected. Definitely to say the least. We knew that this was the classic pick. Obviously, the Bills put up 45. So, we saw this one coming. And then we saw the Lions and Steelers. This was definitely, a big one. This was a game of the week. Actually, no, this was the trash game of the week. I don't know. But I saw actually some people predicted this one. Some guy getting really close, 19-16. He predicted this, but obviously it was a tie, first tie of the season. Very boring game. Generally, ties are not interesting games to watch, and especially if the Lions are playing. I will credit the Lions very much. You would have liked to see them break that losing streak by winning a game, but I guess a tie will do. I'm not sure, but they went on to mount a good game against a Steelers team that we know obviously has the weapons and has been able to beat contenders, and we with Mason Rudolph there, arguably I would say better than Big Ben. They were able to do obviously a good job, and that running game really, really worked for them. And then obviously defensively they were able to hold a Steelers defense that we know has a lot of firepower. So I think that was very, very impressive by this Lions team. So I will give Dan Campbell all the credit in the world. This roster is very, very bad and just bereft of talent. So for him to kind of be able to coach this team and really get them to that level of being decent, I'll give him as much credit as he wants. And then moving on to the next game, we saw the Jaguars and the Colts. Another game that went expected, while the Colts did cut it close 23-17. I think it's really, as I talked about in our weekly predictions, which you'll see, Trevor Lawrence, we thought that I will not at all make any judgment statements or any statements that are very overt or out there about Trevor Lawrence, because he has 3 years, but This quarterback class is supposed to be fantastic. Trevor Lawrence is supposed to be the best quarterback by a lot in this class. And I think we knew he may slow down because he's going to a Jaguars team that, is, you're talking about bereft of talent very much. And actually, that's not even a great way to put it. They're a decent team, but I think, what's going on in the press recently around them hasn't been great. But Trevor Lawrence just hasn't been, at that level we thought he would be at, kind of that leader, someone who can go in and while the organization may not be as good, this is a very bad comparison, but I think like a Mac Jones. We saw Mac Jones. This team on paper could be 3-7. Realistically, should have 8 wins, but they're sitting there. I believe they're at 6-4 right now. So we would have liked to see more from Trevor Lawrence, but against the Colts, I think he played well. It comes down to the pressure was too much and kind of that ability to score points. Michael Pittman continuing his fantastic season, which is great to see. But I think for the Jaguars, it was definitely a little bit disappointing, considering we would have liked to see them get maybe even win this game, but I think they got it close, which is important. Buccaneers Washington, another big one to talk about. This was a close one. You would think if this game, if Washington were to win this game, it would be a defensive performance. And while it was offensive. They were fantastic, putting up just shy of 30 points against a Buccaneers defense that we know is very good, top 5. They're very much full of talent. They have a lot. Obviously, Richard Sherman missed with his groin today, so that was, I guess, maybe a little bit of a hit for them. And then as well, I think Washington, Taylor Heineke gets his revenge from that wild card game, which is just fantastic to see as they almost won there. And then he finally comes in and wins this game. But I think, the story of the game was, it was a great defensive performance by Washington to hold this team to 19. Tom Brady, obviously, the 2 turnovers to begin the game were massive, with 2 picks for Tom Brady. And then offensively, I think we saw Antonio Gibson finally get back to that productive side, because Heineke didn't have a great, not Heineke, Antonio Gibson. Did I say Heineke? Excuse me. Antonio Gibson finally get back to that side, which we have not seen all season. But obviously he had 64 yards and 2 touchdowns, so great to see him back. And then there was a lot. The next game, the Patriots and the Browns. I mean, that was just it was a tough one, to say the least, for the Browns. I think. This team, Baker Mayfield goes out, and we thought, OBJ not having him would make them much better, but I'll give all the credit in the world to this Patriots team. They have been fantastic, putting up 45 points and holding a Browns offense to only 7. They were just fantastic. I think Mac Jones, they found the guy, the Patriots have, which is crazy that they found him that fast after Tom Brady, who is the best quarterback ever and the best quarterback in their franchise history, and to find Mac Jones, who looks like should be very good for them, to find him that quick is obviously interesting. But it was a fantastic Ramondre Stevenson, just great performance. And I think for the Patriots, Mac Jones, while didn't have a lot of yards, 198, but he had 3 touchdowns, and then they put in Hoyer, who had a touchdown. But Ramondre Stevenson, 2 touchdowns, 100 yards and 20 carries. He was very efficient. And then you look at the Browns, obviously Baker Mayfield, prayers go out to him. He went out early, only 73 yards, a touchdown and a pick, on 11 for 21. And then that run game they could get going. Dearness Johnson was pretty good with 99 yards. But I think receiving wise, they were just not much there. Landry leading them with 4 for 26. And then what else? Falcons, Cowboys. We're going through a lot of blowouts here, but Cowboys holding them to 3 points. This team looks like the best team in the NFL right now, especially with the Cardinals and Bucs losing. Defensively, they found that identity. I think that's a big reason why them and the Titans have been so successful, is because they found a defensive identity. I would say the Cowboys are one of the best defenses, which is crazy to see. But Trayvon Diggs, 8 picks in 9 games. He's been ridiculous. And then obviously that offense has so much firepower. Gallup coming back, but having Dak and having CeeDee Lamb and Zeke, who was great, and that offensive line that didn't have Tyron Smith today, and to kind of hold our right Falcons pass rush was very good, and then to put up 43 and that punt block, it just looks like a Cowboys team that really wants it. And McCarthy, I'll give him credit, someone who I thought he's not this, the coach for the future for them, but he showed that he can lead this team to success. So it's definitely very, very good to see, very inspiring to see. And then the next game, Panthers and Cardinals. Again, we saw Cam Newton come back. I think it was finally the the downfall of Colt McCoy. I would say we finally saw generally starting or backup quarterbacks don't have two good games in rows. We saw that from Mike White, and we saw that today is obviously Colt McCoy not having his best game. The Panthers, P.J. Walker looked great, putting up 34 against a Cardinals team that we know he had 167 yards, no touchdowns, and a pick. 22 for 29, very good successfully, and then Cam Newton threw for a touchdown, rush for one as well, and McCaffrey having him back was huge. 13 carries and he had 95 yards. He's just so efficient. And I think again, Cardinals side of the ball, McCoy not good, only 107 yards, and they weren't able to get it going. The big storyline of this game was the defense for the Panthers, which was very, very good. And on their day, this defense is a top 5. That front 7 is fantastic, and you look at the depth they have in that secondary, is really, really impressive. So that I think was a big reason why they were able to be so successful this week. And then moving on to the next one, we got into some of the more later game slates. We obviously had the Vikings upset the Chargers. I would guess upset 27-20. This I didn't get to catch much of, but I think it came down to Justin Jefferson had a fantastic game, and Herbert has not looked good. Herbert has looked like one of the worst quarterbacks in the league, as he went for 195 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. He was not good, and Eckler could not get it going with 11 carries and 44 yards. And I think a lot of the good teams that fell this week, we saw them fall to really good defenses and defenses that came and were on their game. No pun intended. And I think that's exactly what the Vikings came and did. And I've constantly underrated them, and they've very much proven me wrong. Kirk Cousins looked great, 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, and then Dalvin Cook with 95 on 24 carries and a touchdown as well. And then Justin Jefferson, 9 catches for 143 yards. He was ridiculous today. And then Thielen putting in his fair share. So I think it came down to offensive productivity. They were able to match the Chargers and really get that win at SoFi, which I thought was huge for a Vikings team that I think is hunting for a playoff spot. And obviously going into the Packers next week, this was a big win to get before they go and they sit at 4-5, which I think was a big deal for them. Next, we saw the Seahawks and Packers. This was a big shutout game. I think the Seahawks, they saw Russell Wilson come back. I don't think they're too worried. Obviously 3-6 now, only 3 wins. It's crazy to think, if I thought that I would at least think, even me talking about the NFL constantly, I feel like the Seahawks have at least 5 wins, but they fall to 3-6. The Packers go up to 8-2. And I don't think people should give as much credit to the Packers as they should. I think this should have been a much high scoring game. I think, credit to the Seahawks secondary. They were able to hold Devontae Adams and other receivers and get that pick from Aaron Rodgers. But I think it came down to Russell Wilson was coming back. Obviously had that that finger injury that is on his hand. So I think that definitely probably played into it. He threw 2 picks you wouldn't see Russell Wilson throw generally. And then A.J. Dillon, I talked about in our weekly predictions. He looked fantastic. Really, he looks like he's just a huge running back, someone who I think bullies players and is so hard to tackle, as he got 2 touchdowns on 66 yards. And I think Aaron Jones went out with an injury. I believe that's why A.J. Dillon was able to get so much more obviously reps at the back, as he got 21 carries. But he's showing why he can be the RB1 for the Packers if they were to let Jones go. And then we saw the Eagles put up 30 against the Broncos, a game that I was very confident about predicting the Eagles, and I am. I mean, this team is 4-6. They look really good. I think it's an offense that's very high powering. I think Jalen Hurts, as much as people maybe doubted him, I believed in this guy. I think this guy really has that factor to be a starting quarterback. 178 yards and 2 touchdowns. And then rushing wise, they were very good. And Devontae Smith with 2 of them. Devontae Smith has been quietly fantastic for this Eagles team. So I think that was a big reason why he was able to do that. And he had an average of 16 yards per catches. He got 4 for 66. So he was great. And I think that was a big reason why they were able to beat a Broncos team that we saw defensively at the beginning of the year were so good, but they fall to 5-5. Maybe you call it the Teddy Bridgewater curse, but he was good. No touchdowns, no picks, 226 yards. And I think that completion percentage was not good, 22 for 36. And then rushing-wise, they couldn't get it going as much as they wanted to. Melvin Gordon looked good on 9 carries with a touchdown. And then receiving-wise, there wasn't much there either, I believe. I'm not sure who this is. Albert, I'm not even going to try and say it, was there. Leading receiver. I believe he's a rookie, but again, it was a tougher week, but an interesting one, definitely, to say the least. I think we saw good teams fall, and it's definitely getting harder and harder to predict games, which I know is crazy to say, but I hope you guys did enjoy the video. Do make sure to like and subscribe. Follow us on social media at The Sports Scoop, and yeah, let me know what you guys Let me know what you guys think about all of our videos. And I am messing up very badly. I'm clicking the wrong buttons, but I hope you guys did enjoy the video, and we'll see you next time.